Development Center for the Roanoke region, and Heather's here with me from the Small Business Development Center too. Sometimes you'll hear us referred to as the SBDC. You don't have to remember that. That's hard to say. It took me about 6 months from joining the Small Business Development Center to be able to say that. But welcome. This is our first Casual Fridays. We're going to have them periodically. We're going to try to start with every Friday at 10 o'clock just to bring folks on to talk about things that'll help our small business community grow. And today we have a super special guest, London, who is the founder of Hustle Haven and a dear friend of mine. We met through the SBDC actually, and have watched kind of I say growth, and she's not even open, but the growth of Hustle Haven and what she's done with that. But what we're going to talk about today is really her movement around Black Lives Matters and how, as a company, she decided quickly to act and what that process has been like, and hopefully that it will help other businesses understand how they can get involved and what they can do and walk through that kind of decision process, and even things to think about saying and doing. So, London, tell us a little bit about, let's start with just learning, what is Hustle Haven?
So in a nutshell, Hustle Haven is an indoor cycling, hot yoga, self-care boutique, and potion bar, which is a lot of things thrown into one. But really what it is I like to say, a haven from your daily hustle. We're promoting a lifestyle that encourages people to take some time for themselves, whether that is in a hot yoga class or taking a cycling class. For me, those are things that are really important to my mental health and just overall well-being. But also we have our self-care boutique, which is a retail section of our property and on our website, where you can buy different products, where you can start a self-care routine at home. And then the potion bar, which a lot of people are like, ooh, potions. It's really just a coffee, tea, and smoothie bar, but we infuse adaptogenic herbs and mushrooms and CBD. So you might have a cappuccino with some ashwagandha, which is a root that is an adaptogenic root that helps with, calming the nervous system. Or maybe you want to integrate like Shishandra berry, and they all have different benefits for the whole system in the body. They're called adaptogens because they help the body adapt to certain stressors. So anyway, I call it a potion bar because my husband said that I make up all these little potions. So the name stuck, and hopefully once people get in the building and have their potions, they'll understand.
Well, it fits so well with the message that you're sending around lifestyle, right? And you're offering that fitness component, but obviously well-being and a healthy lifestyle is much more than that. So I think it's so cool that you brought that in for people to experience. And really, to my knowledge, it'll be the first experience for a lot of people in our region, similar. So super. Well, you know how excited I am about that. I'm just cannot wait for the doors to open. I want to mention before we get into our topic too, we've done a video series with London around the opening of Hustle Haven, and we'll continue to add to that series. But if you haven't watched those videos, check them out. They're on our Facebook page and our Instagram page, Roanoke Regional Small Business Development Center. Or on Instagram, you can do the handle RRSBDC. And we've got some videos there to talk about London's kind of journey through this process and her opening. One of the things that's so cool, and that I really think she can serve as a mentor to so many of our small businesses, is that she already has an audience and she hasn't opened. And that's not by chance, and it's not just by social media. She has really had an incredible marketing plan, and a way to reach her client demographic that she's found and kind of said, this is my client demographic, and really work towards bringing them into the fold before the doors even open. And it's such, London, just, kudos to you for doing that and really kind of leading the way for that type of effort, specifically in Roanoke, because you're in Roanoke City. So it's really cool for other businesses, I think, to watch and to understand what a launch could look like. But let's get on to today's topic, right? Like, I'm so fascinated by this. and also very passionate about it, and loved when immediately I saw you start talking about using your space as a haven for some of our protesters here. Your building is right in front of the police department, and you have a lot of open outdoor space.
Mhm.
And immediately your windows started to fill with posters, cardboard with messages on it. But you also very quickly had a call to action for people to really help you provide food, water, and kind of a place for protesters to come for some relief during the day, right? It's hot outside, especially many of those days. Um, and it was such a quick call to action and so easy what you did. And I want to get into the nitty gritty of that today, because I think it's some of the things that I saw you doing are probably taken for granted by you and others because you just do them and you're just in the moment. But I think they can serve as really good learning tools for lots of different things, but especially right now in this moment of Black Lives Matters and how small businesses really can make a difference and have a voice, just like you have. So let me, if I can back up just a little bit, I want to know what the thought process was in your head when, and the emotions you were having when, obviously it started with George Floyd and many others before, but really started that movement and had protesting here in Roanoke. What was going through your mind to help you, or that was like, oh my gosh, we have a space for this? What does that look like?
Um, I mean, originally it hadn't occurred to me where the protests were happening. I really didn't know. I just knew personally how I felt about the situation. Constantly watching stuff on the internet, listening to the news. I know that I was just so heartbroken. And I think just the state of the world in general. And then, not that this just happened like it was the first time. It's like, here we are again. And so for me personally, as an individual, I wanted to be able to do something, but I wasn't sure what that was. And I also was afraid. I'll be honest, I was afraid of like, what does that move look like? Um, and then I got a text that said that the protest had moved to outside of the police department, and then it was at Hustle Haven, essentially because Hustle Haven's across the street, and that's where they were standing. And I knew that the temperatures were going to be really hot, and I thought, they're on the city's property. They're on the sidewalk. Like, there's not much that they can set up for themselves. So we have 3 lots, 2 of which are wide open. Like, let's provide. That's what we can do. That's what we can do. We can provide a safe space where there can be shade and water and first aid. And because that's the thing, protesting is a thing that can't just happen 1 hour a day and then like, we're good. It has to continue, and it has to go on for hours. And if people are in the hot sun and they're not taking care of themselves and they're getting exhausted and they don't have a place to, for some respite, like, then you start to see the fatigue happen a lot quicker than I think it would if like the weather was perfect outside. And
Right.
so I really didn't think much of it. I think I was sitting in bed. It was like 9 o'clock. I was having my coffee and I was watching more stuff on my phone. And I was like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do it. And my husband was like, I think that's great. Let's do it. And we just kind of rolled into action without really a plan at first, to be quite honest with you. We just kind of put it out there, which is kind of a thing that I do. So I
London
just,
is great. It's like that when you can admit that and say, sometimes I start. I don't know what the plan is. I just start. And I actually think that that's incredibly smart in many cases and what a lot of us can learn from. is that sometimes when you have that, you just have to move, you just have to act, you have to take the next step.
Well, I
um,
knew that, something I have learned so far in this almost 2-year journey of opening Hustle Haven is that if you sit around for the plan to be perfect and everything to fall into place, like you'll be sitting around forever. So you just kind of have to make moves and then pivot where you need to pivot. And so I put it out there and I hoped that people would respond, and at least a few tents. I was like, well, no, I have a tent, maybe somebody else has a tent. And before I knew it, we had like 7 tents and like a mountain of water. And I mean, we have a pod full now of water and food and tents and chairs and coolers that like, and people keep bringing stuff and it's amazing. So
yeah. So I want to talk about that, because that, again, I think sometimes we take it for granted if it's super easy for us, but when you realize, we could provide resources for, I mean, food, water, shade, but obviously you're not even open yet. You don't have revenue, so you can't like just go out and buy a bunch of stuff. You quickly like ask the community to help, right? Like you went on, and I don't know where else you are. I follow you on Instagram. And I saw very quickly you had literally just said, if you can help donate money for us to go get these goods, and I think you used Venmo, but you could use any platform that's digital like that. But it was so super simple, and all you did was just put that out there, and then people started Venmoing, right? Like they started sending you money.
I collected $1,400 within days, and that's like anything from like a $5 donation to someone donated $200. A lot of I mean, that's a lot of people coming together that couldn't help. My best friend in LA, she donated. I mean, there's stuff going on in her community, obviously. um, People from all over. I have a friend in Virginia Beach actually shipped some stuff via Amazon. She shipped some Gatorade and some granola bars so that we could have those. But on top of that, people were just, showing up with, and people even showed up with water and then handed us money.
Yeah.
So the
That's,
community really was generous and wanted to help in any way that they could.
I think that's a strong message for our region, that that's there. And I think the point I want to talk about with that, just for our small businesses, sometimes we get stuck in, how do I collect the money? How do I, what, I can't afford to do this. How do I do that? And I think it's so important to show that it doesn't have to be a plan. It doesn't have to be this formal system. You're just like, I'm on Venmo, here it is, right? Super, super simple. And some people are afraid to be that casual, or maybe they don't even know or would think about that being an option. But I was just super impressed with you for just making that such a simple process that I don't think many of us would have thought to do, right? We would have been thinking, oh, well, do I ask for them to go on my website and contribute, or how do I do that? And you're just like, no, just send the money. You don't have to put any time into that, like setting a system up. And so I think that's really cool and something we can all learn from. Um, so you've got all of this stuff, you have the space for people. What was kind of next? Like you gathered all that. Were you there with people? Like what did that process look like? Obviously someone has to man that stuff.
Yeah. So again, not really thinking through the plan. Because I knew that that Wednesday was going to be the hottest day we'd had. It was 90 some here. And, but I knew like this can't stop. Like once I saw it come together and the tents were up and the protesters were so thankful to have a place, I was like, this has to continue because this is positive. And I do want to say, like, it's very weird to get so much kudos for this. And, for me and for my business, because it doesn't, we didn't do it for that.
Right.
We did it because we just felt like we had to. Like, And this is literally like the least I feel like I could do. I wish I could do more. So while we were there and we saw like, oh, this really is beneficial, and we have all of this stuff that people have donated, like we could keep this going. And because the protests need to keep going. Like it's not just a week or like a really strong weekend and then, we're done. It has to keep going, or changes are not going to keep happening and changes are not going to stick. So yeah, we were out there Wednesday through Sunday. I would I just got in touch with the people that seemed like they were in charge, and now they've kind of organized themselves and they've included me, and we're just trying to make the effort last as long as we can. So we're setting up tents almost every day, and setting up the water stations, first aid, delivering ice every day. And I think they've organized themselves now. They're not doing it every day. We do Tuesday, Thursday, and the weekends. That's our plan for this past week that just passed. So we'll have protests this weekend, but I'm out there as much as I can because I want to be a part of it as an individual, not as the owner of Hustle Haven. I want to do whatever I can with my position as a white person. Like, what can I do to change this boat around instead of sitting silently, tiptoeing around the issue?
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
London, that brings me to something I wanted to ask you about when you said tiptoeing around the issue, because it's something that a lot of our businesses are struggling with. Let's just be honest about it. I hate that they're struggling. For me, a friend of mine said recently, words matter. And that even means words unspoken matter, right? And I saw that, I think someone questioned or was asking you, like, how do you be so bold to bring your business into this? And I can't remember really what the question was, but it was around that. And I remember seeing your answer and I thought it was really helpful for people. Could you just talk about what that question was? You don't have to say who or in what context, but and then what your answer was to that.
Um, I mean, I've had a few people either ask questions or, have comments in regards to the business taking such a stance. And again, you know, this is my first like official business. I own an event planning business that was more just freelance, but this is like my first business out there in the face of the community. And so I don't know what I'm doing, but I do have kind of old school thoughts of like, oh, don't politicize your business. So I do have these voices that are like, this could be really bad, but I just thought this isn't a political issue. This is a human rights issue. This is, and what the values of my business are uplifting and taking care of humans and encouraging humans to take care of themselves and to take care of their community. Because self-care is not just bubble baths and reading a book, in the bubble bath. That's not what, that's fun. That's casual self-care. There's nothing wrong with that. And we sell stuff like that. But self-care is much deeper than that, which is why we host like happy hours and whatnot. And it's really taking action in your community too, because if you are not living in a community where you feel healthy and safe and provided for, that is going to affect you as a person. Like, you can take bubble baths every single night. It's not going to make a difference if your community doesn't feel safe for you. So I just felt really convicted. And it was kind of one of those, I'm not going to ask for permission. I'm going to ask for forgiveness later. But if I have to ask you for forgiveness, we're probably not going to jive anyway. Like,
Right.
you're probably not really going to be a fan of what Hustle Haven stands for anyway. So yeah, it was scary because I know traditionally businesses shouldn't take such a strong stance, but I don't I feel like there's only one side to be on this, and you should speak up and support. And if you have clients that don't respect your statement on this, then, you know, I don't know. For me and for Hustle Haven, they don't align with our values. So
I think it really goes back to London, and you've done such a good job with your client demographics, right? Like, and they're very in line with who you are and what you're just such a deep part of that I think um, it may be harder for people to understand how easy that choice is, right? Because oftentimes our businesses may not that they don't align with our values, but we don't think about it in that way. And I love that you do. It's one of the things that makes you shine, I think. And I want to point out too, we'll wrap up here just shortly, um, that I think is another lesson for us to pull out. Your business happens to be in the right location for this, and it's, you looked around to say, what resources do I have to make an impact? And this is it. This is where I'm at. It makes sense. This is what I can do. And I think for other businesses who might watch this and who are curious about this and wondering what they can do, it's really looking internally. What does your business do? What services or products do you offer? And really looking at that to say, okay, how can I use that, use the resources I have to do something for the community? And especially around Black Lives Matters, like, what can I do? And so they don't have to. I could see some people saying, well, man, my business isn't there, or I'm not in that location, or I don't have the resources to do that. But it's really more about, what you're doing specifically aligns to what your business does anyway. And when I say that, I don't mean just taking a stand, but by literally offering space right there in front of the police department,
yeah,
or, as part of that effort. And I hope that we can encourage other businesses to do that. And if they've been afraid to say something, a friend of mine said recently that words matter, like I said before. It's like you want to, what are you feeling, and make that part of your business and have that. Don't think about it so much, right? Like, don't stress about it so much. Just have that opportunity to think about it and move. I think so many people are paralyzed right now, which is
right.
understandable, but
You don't know what the right thing to say or do is. And, like you were saying, we are right there kind of in the line of fire. We are across the street from the police station. That is where the protesters are, their like headquarters are. So it did work out that we were there and we could provide a space, but we would have done something otherwise, whether we would have just rolled up with coolers and ice, or, you know, I think whatever your business is, you can make a statement in support of all humans, like especially Black lives right now with what is going on. And you can do that however is relevant to your business.
yeah, I
And you
love
shouldn't be afraid. I would say, again, was I like slightly worried because I'm like, I'm not a business owner, and well, I mean, I am a business owner, but I was not a business owner before. So I felt like, um, I don't know the right and the wrong thing to do, but this is what I'm going to do with my business. And but people have been, glad that someone said something and took a stand. So I think if you are a business that at least wants to make a statement, whether you are donating, proceeds to a nonprofit, or you're encouraging people to be shopping at Black-owned businesses, or you're actually making an effort to, hire Black people or encourage Black people to come into your circle and your community, like whatever that statement is, people are going to respect you. I have found that people have been so glad that it always just takes somebody to say something. And I don't want to take credit for that. I just found that, okay, I was really afraid because I thought maybe I was like taking a stance with a business that you're not supposed to do, because businesses are supposed to be just like these neutral things. But I was like, that's not how Hustle Haven is. Like, we're going to do something to support this movement because it really matters to us and our values. And whatever, however your business can find a way to do that. Sorry, I know that was like really wordy, but I
No,
just think it's possible. You don't have to be a business across from the police station.
that's right. I love all the lessons that we can learn. And there are many people all over the region. We serve the Roanoke Valley, Newer Valley, and Allegheny Highlands. And there's people all over doing things like this, or doing things with their business. And I think it's incredibly important. And we're also all learning, right? And so if you're a small business and you say the wrong thing, you're going to be called out, and that's okay. Like, we're all, I want to be like, if I say something wrong, let me know. We have to do our own education, but also understand that it's okay right now. You know, we're
And
all
yeah,
in that
if
place.
you say something wrong, just say, just fess up to it.
That's
Fess up
right.
to it and apologize, and always make an effort to move forward and change and evolve. Like, but sitting silent, that makes a statement too. And that's, you know,
That's right.
you should make an effort. And even if you say something slightly wrong, you can at least say, I'm trying, and I want to learn. I want to do better.
Yeah.
And
Thank you. Right. Thank
yeah.
you for that. Okay, well, we are right at 10:30, so we'll wrap it up. I do want to take a second, though. One, this is being recorded, so we'll have it everywhere for other people to watch in their own time. But London, you have a pretty important event coming up on June 18th that I would love for you to take a second to tell us about and tell us how we can get involved in that.
So back to the idea that self-care is not just, self-care routine at home, but it's also about your community. We've been having these happy hours, which we had them in person from November through February, and then Corona happened. So this is our first live happy hour, and I had not had any plans to have a happy hour, but with everything going on and hearing what people were saying, exactly what we've talked about here, people being afraid to say something, so they just don't say anything. A friend connected me with Dina Hackley Hunt, who actually owns her own business where she works with communities and business owners in regards to subjects just like this. Like, how do you have like race relations and conversations in the business place that are appropriate? Because oftentimes people like white little like blonde girl like me are afraid to say things, and so then we don't say anything or we say the wrong thing. And so she's leading a conversation. It's going to be outside at the Hustle Haven parking lot, and it's going to be an open discussion. She is going to lead with some fine examples and talking points, but she's going to take your questions and we're going to talk through it. We're just going to have a really open, frank conversation so that those people that are wanting to make more of a statement and wanting to be more helpful and not just sit quietly because they're afraid to say something wrong will feel a little bit more confident in how to navigate right now, so that they can actually be an ally, but more than an ally, but be a proactive change maker. So
I think it's one step locally that we can take to educate, right? Like, we can learn. What time is the event?
it's from 6 to 8. So it's Thursday, June 18th from 6 to 8. It's outside, so that's allows us to have some social distancing, but we're encouraging people to bring their own camping chairs or your picnic blanket, whatever. It is a gravel parking lot, so keep that in mind for your comfort. And I am going to have Queen's Vegan there, which is a Black-owned
Yeah.
business with the most delicious vegan food. She'll be there serving food. So there will be food, but BYOB, BYOC. That's your chair. So
Okay.
yeah, and
Um,
it's free. So, and this is post protesting that Thursday. So if you want to come out and protest for a bit, because that's the thing we need now. We don't need water. We don't need granola bars. We are stacked for days, but we need our bodies out there helping with the movement. So come protest and then come join us for the happy hour at 6.
and do they need to register anywhere, or just show up? Show up Thursday at
They
6.
can just show up. I did ask for people to RSVP on the Instagram just so we have an idea of head count. But if you don't do that, that's fine. And we will also be streaming it on our Instagram Live. So if you are not local or you can't come because of whatever reason, or maybe you don't feel comfortable with COVID right now, you can watch our Instagram Live, and then we'll post that later to our IGTV.
Awesome. That is fantastic. And will make sure that we share that for people too, to get you all the information on that. I hope that I'll be there, and I hope that others will join me, and you as well. I'm really looking forward to hearing from Dina. Thank you so much, London, for talking to me today. I love you to death. Um,
You have been so important in getting this project off the ground. So I owe so much to you. I would not be sane.
that's not true, London, but sometimes it's good to have that other person to bounce things off of, and be there. And I hope I can do that for you for sure.
You definitely do. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here and speak today. And again, this is not for Hustle Haven. We just wanted to do something. And if you want to do something, go out and do it. Get a sign, go stand on the sidewalk with them.
Absolutely. I love it. Thank you so much, London, for your message. And for those of you guys who were able to join us live today, thank you. This is our first Casual Friday. We hope to grow it. We'll have lots of people on. If you guys have suggestions for us, we'd love to hear them. We're looking for experts, mentors, any topics that can help our small business community grow. So if you guys have those, let us know. We're on social media, on Facebook, Roanoke Regional Small Business Development Center. On Instagram, you can search the same and find us. Our handle is RRSBDC. We're active on both, and you can shoot us a message or leave a comment. And I hope to hear from you, because we want to provide what you guys want. We'll share the recording later so that you guys can share it with folks who might have missed today but would find it useful for their business. I know I have lots of people that I want to share it with that couldn't be here this morning. So again, thank you guys. Thank you, Heather, for helping us organize all of this and being here today. You guys do not know how much work behind the scenes has to happen to make these things go. And she is always incredible. So thank you. And we'll see you guys next Friday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a great day.
You guys too.
Mhm.